So now we know Velen a bit better. I still don't trust her, but I do trust that what drives her is self-interest and finding answers. As long as her aims and ours don't end up, well, intersecting and coming into conflict, then we should be able to work together. And we do need her knowledge of Netheril to be able to get anywhere. As for Rorschach, he's clearly in above his head. This will end badly. But treating him like a child here will only push him further along the dangerous track he's on. I need him to know that I'm on his side. When he's ready, he will come to me. To Lathander. To the light. This is Red Moon role-playing.
Cold snow, wind and sleet. Sadly, these do not abate as the days continue, although they obviously lessen by quite a significant degree, so you are not completely doomed. But the going from this point on is much harder. You are able to travel during the day and certainly see where you are going, but you are now constantly under a sheet of snow and cold. Every night, Velen now has to cast Leomund's tiny hut, which gives you some reprieve and stops you being snowed in. But it still doesn't completely save you from the cold, the wind, and the sleet. After 2 more days of this, 3 more days even, how are you feeling, Roman?
Worried. I know that these blizzards can go on for quite a while. And being stuck like this, I don't know if there's anyone else that is trying to find what we're trying to find. Well, we're losing time.
Indeed, your travel speed is slowed, but you at least are still moving, and Velen points out that at this point turning back would be just as laborious anyway. No, you must keep going. What about you, Rorschach? Are you still in high spirits?
I'm starting to feel increasingly conflicted about this. I know it's the normal response when you travel with someone that you try to stick together. And she hasn't done anything bad towards me. I suppose this avarice, well, hopefully it won't come to any particular fight, but might well. They're not allowed to fight each other. It's a tricky one. This is a really tricky one. I try not to think about it. I try to focus on my own powers, and the only thing that I'm supposed to be doing to retain them is to, play a trick on Aurel. We get that Mithalar and we'll be annoying because we'll return the weather, and that should be enough. But yes, as the weather goes on, I start to think of that even more. How it would be nice if we could just change this to something completely different. I haven't seen sun or felt proper heat against my skin from it since I don't remember when.
Indeed. And so the days march on. Roman, how long has it been now? Maybe a week? Your rations are fine, thankfully. You did, after all, stock up in Lonelywood. But it is getting laborious. And boring as well. There's nothing out here. You can see enough, but beyond a certain radius, there's just white nothingness. Some days you do see the outline of the Regid Glacier getting closer and closer. It truly is a monumentous obstacle. But you are getting closer. And on the maybe 8th or 9th day, something finally changes. You start seeing some rocky outcroppings up ahead, and you think you see, Roman, figures gathered around one of these outcroppings. You think you see a camp. It takes you by surprise for a moment, especially when you then think you see, just ahead, one of these figures waving at you. Rorschach, you also notice this, and Velen does sort of, over the din of the storm, say, Am I seeing things? I think there are people up ahead.
Could it be one of the tribes?
Certainly looks that way.
What do you do, Roman?
Well, if they're waving towards us, I will wave back. If it is one of the tribes, then... well, odds are that they won't be immediately hostile to us.
And I try to think over in my head what was told to me. The wolves had gone mad and the bears were in isolation. And I try to keep my eyes open for any sign of what force this might be.
The snow is making it difficult to see too far ahead, although you think then a figure comes forward with antlers? 2 great antlers on their head? At least that's how they look in the snow.
If it's the elk tribe, then they were the most sensible of all.
The figure waves and then starts beckoning for you to come forwards. What do you do?
I raise my hand and wave back, feeling a bit confident now, and I start moving ahead. Hail!
You see the figure with the antlers is also wearing a great mask. A mask you recognize. Isn't that the mask the shaman was wearing?
I'll look closer.
It is! As you keep approaching, finally you see this must be the shaman you met before. Surrounding the shaman are 10 individuals clad in thick elk hides, antlers on their belts and antlers on their spears. They have sleds nearby as well. They've clearly been travelling. What do you do?
Ha ha! It is you! Hello there! I still haven't figured out if I'm a king or a fool, I say as I step down.
Yeah, I know. Still you wonder. Still pride follows. You are late?
Late? Did your runic dice tell you we were coming again?
Perhaps. Yeah? No? Hard to tell. You are late though. Trouble with blizzards? Trouble with storm? Ha ha! 10-towners not so good in blizzards. And the shaman tilts their head towards you, Roman.
Well, we come in peace. Yes. You have nothing to worry about from us.
Yeah, I know. But you will have something to worry about from them ahead. The time has come. You will need to make a choice. I am here to help. Whatever choice you make, yeah?
What kind of choice, I say?
The figure tilts her head a little and shrugs. If I told you, would not be much of a choice, would it?
Well, I try to garner the time of day. Would it be time for us to set up camp anyway?
You're not entirely sure, but you notice that already these individuals are getting to their sleds as Meginir, the shaman, motions for you to go forwards. Come, we ride with you for a bit. You are nearly there. The glacier awaits.
Have you come into contact with any of the other tribes as of late?
No.
How did the deal turn out in the end between the tigers and the elks?
Meginir shrugs. I don't know. Been getting here.
And my mind travels to the last time we met them and the people and that fantastically impressive woman, the queen. And I also start thinking about my mother.
The Ragid nomads seem to want you to continue moving along. What do you do, Roman? Velens grunts a little but doesn't see any harm.
I nod. Let's do as they say.
And you continue on for another 10-20 minutes, suddenly accompanied now by the Ragid. Their sleds are a little faster than yours, and they seem far more accustomed to moving around in this blizzard. Although, again, by this point, it's no longer a blizzard, and more just an inconvenient storm for the day. But then, one of them holds up a spear and says, "Stop, ya!"
I stop.
Both of you can roll a perception check.
I squint. I get a 7.
I get a 17.
Roshek, you look around. What's the hold-up? Again, nothing out here but white on white. Except, of course, now the glacier slowly becoming more and more prominent to the east as a almost impassable black wall on the horizon. But Roman, figures. 10 to your left, 10 to your right. They suddenly just seem to be there, emerging from the snow. But then they just seem to be slowly approaching. They're not approaching quickly. What do?
We are not alone. There are beings all around us. Let's stay calm, but be ready.
What do you mean there's no one?
And suddenly, Roshek, you see, they suddenly seem to have sprung. Both sides, left and right.
And I look at the people with us. Are they raising their arms, or...?
They seem to be reaching for their weapons, but they aren't getting battle ready just yet. Roshek, old tactics come to your mind once again. The positioning. This is a perfect ambush. In fact, if not for one of them saying stop, and then maybe Roman noticing, you wouldn't have noticed. They would have been upon you quite easily. But for some reason they haven't done that, so there's definitely something happening here.
Yeah, if they wanted us dead, they wouldn't be approaching us like this. But, slowly, a lance is shaping up from my hand, upwards, tall into the sky.
Velen sort of makes to move the sleds into the center of your little procession, sort of trying to get behind both of you. Which makes sense, he after all is not the sort of person who likes to be at the front. And Roman, you see, approaching from one of the groups of people, a towering figure, clad in thick tiger furs, accompanied by a very fearsome-looking saber-toothed tiger as she sort of gets off a sled. You think you recognize this woman. She's not wearing her hood, even in the snow. Queen Bjornhild. She clicks her teeth, coming forwards, and yells out, Mergeneer, why are you here with them? That complicates things, yeah? Mergeneer responds, Yeah, it does complicate things, Great Queen. It does. What do, Roman?
We are here to find the glacier. We're looking for something that might change everything, that might bring back the light. We mean no harm to you.
Queen Bjornhild begins moving forwards, casually holding a great axe on her back, her tiger coming with her. Yeah, I know. But you are wrong, priest. No harm. Everything you do cause harm, yeah?
Well, we certainly don't intend to do that. If there's any way that we can avoid causing harm, then please tell us. But we must move forward. We must find what we're looking for.
I sort of growl to Roman on the side. Well, she was quite pleased last time I saw her with this darkness persisting.
Yeah, I am. You want no fight? You can turn back. Turn back. Go to your 10 towns. Pack up. Leave. Go south. Leave these lands to who they belong. Leave these lands to Aura's blessing. That is what you can do. Know this. I am only talking because it seems the elk have got involved. Otherwise, yeah, I would have killed you both now. Already. She smiles.
I smile back.
It is good that they got involved then, I say and smile. Well, we have places to go. If you're not going to try and stop us, then, well, I suggest you move aside.
You would ask a queen to move aside, yeah. As always, 10 town has no respect. No, I shall not move. I will not allow you to defile Aural's sacred places with your god of light.
Then I'm afraid we're at somewhat of an impasse here. I would really hate for this to turn into some kind of violent altercation. It would be bad.
It would. I do not wish to harm the elk. That will cause problems for us. but it seems they are standing with you. Legionnaire sort of steps by your side, Roman. Yeah, we must, Queen Bjornhild, no disrespect, but it is not the way. It is not the way. Is it not the way? Well then, priest, let me guess. Give me your lecture about light. Tell me how it is all so bad. For your East Haven and your 10 towns.
It is bad. Many are suffering, freezing, dying. I'm certain that you find the situation to work in your favor. I can understand where you would come from with that. But there's a lot of suffering out there. A lot of suffering that can be alleviated by us bringing back the light. And we can find ways of coexisting in a better way in the future. Especially if you help us now. That would go a long way to establishing trust between our peoples.
You hear a lot of discontent coming from the individuals who have all come a lot closer, all armed, surrounding you on both sides. Roll me an insight check, Roman.
20.
It's not going well, but it started going badly on the very last thing you said. You think you know why, as the Queen responds. Of course! The 10-towner comes and tells us how we are wrong. How we do not know anything, but you know everything. Of course, tell us of your god of light. He has all the answers, yes. All our gods are wrong and false, but your gods are true, and your ways of civilization are also true, yes?
Queen, if I may. I know I am still ignorant of much of your ways. Here I am an outsider. I belong neither to the 10 towns, nor to your tribes, obviously, though I believe my mother might have at one point. Now I see the predicament, and I can see how you enjoy the suffering of these people that come here to take your lands. I really do. But I must ask, surely you hunt. That is what all tigers would do. And surely the game, in turn, must feed upon that which the ground has to offer. With this persistent darkness, how long do you think you have until the game runs out, because they have nothing to eat themselves?
Long enough. We, after all, are blessed by Auril. We will prosper while this lot are gone, yeah? And the strongest beast, the strongest will survive. That is the point of all this.
No, that is where you're wrong. The most adaptable will survive, and you and your tigers will run out of food if this persists. You have to be wise. Believe me, I have learnt that lesson too.
Cunning words, although once again, have to be wise. I am wiser than you, half-orc. I am a queen of a tribe. I have survived long. But still, you forget. Your words are just honey, yeah. What the priest wants is for us to be gone, for his god of light. But I worship Auril. I cannot allow you to defile her sacred places. This is against my faith. How can we reconcile that difference? I am sure that he would say, you can't, and smite me in the name of his god. So why should I not smite you? Roman, again going on your insight check. There's something to what you just said, isn't there? There's a certain thing in you that suddenly, of course, wants to just proclaim holy righteousness on all of these individuals, but then the symbol around your neck starts to feel heavy. You notice the shaman is still standing ready, but just seems to be watching you very intently. At least you think so from this mask. What do you say?
It's growing heavy. What does that mean? Is that something I've felt before?
You have not. You have no idea.
I try to look around, try to understand what is happening. There's someone doing something, someone using some kind of power on me.
You look around. You don't see any magic users here, at least you don't think so. No one's casting a spell at you. the heaviness feels less like the object is heavy, but more something on your heart. Just weighing down. And then in your mind, you just, for some reason, recall Mengier saying, there's a choice to make.
Just as there is day, there is night. Yes, the light of Lathander is important to me and to my people. And the darkness of Auril, it has its place too. None of us have to dominate the other. We can coexist. I do believe that. But then that has to begin with us laying down our arms now and not fighting each other here, not dying out in this place.
Your insight feels that you've misstepped a little when you say that, though. And you remember, don't these people prize strength and dominance over everything? You see the Queen snarl a little. But it's not a snarl of direct anger, more a snarl of dismissiveness. Yes, of course. You see, half-orc, he speaks like all the priests do. Peace, coexistence, we must all work together. That is not how nature works. That is not how my tribe have survived. You, 10-towners, say these words, and then you take what you want, saying, we are wrong. You are exactly as I thought you would be, priest.
I suppose it's good that I didn't disappoint you then. That I was what you expected me to be. But do believe me when I say that I wish you no ill. I do truly wish to coexist. And I want you to be able to live in the way that you want to live, as long as you will allow us to live in our way.
Well, that is where we come to an impasse, even if that were true. I do not know what you are going to try and do, but I know it is going to be against Auril. And she is my goddess. How can I allow you to harm her, hey?
Well, how long has this been so? This darkness, I understand, have only been for the last few years. How did you live before this that was so terrible?
We lived fine, but the 10-towners more come, day by day. They take more. This is finally their time to go, and she has been almost lenient, although I will not blaspheme by saying she has been merciful. But what can I say? Some 10-towners not so stupid, yeah? They were wise to do the rituals.
I look around at these people coming in, and I feel like, well, if I'm to do my mistress' bidding, this is a fight we would take.
You're not entirely sure you could take them all on. That could be bloody and messy. But you do think, surely if you, and maybe your sleds just moved quickly, you could outrun them, surely? Yeah, you could probably outrun these people. You, that is, not all these people around you.
No. But why should they just fight each other if we set off? I'm thinking to myself, that's not in their major interest. And I try to get the eye of Velen.
Velen catches your eye, her hands ready on her reins. Roman, you do not notice this, though. You're still in this conversation. It still seems to be on a knife's edge, but you do, at this point, again with your insight, feel if she doesn't want to talk, then why is she talking?
So what is it that you want here? I mean, we're not going to turn back, you know that. How can we resolve our issues here? How can we move past this? What is required?
Why should I tell you that? What I want is clear. You'll back off. You'll go back to your 10 towns and you'll leave. Your leniency is coming to an end. The rituals will not keep you safe forever.
And you know very well that I will not do that.
Indeed. Therefore, it seems we are going to have to come to blows, but it is unfortunate because I have a feeling the elk will help you. Is that right, Mengier? Mengier sighs a little and nods, but then she mutters to Roman, remember, pride. Let it go. There is a way past your pride. Roman, what do you do? That's a very strange thing to be telling you right now. But unfortunately, it's up to you, you think, to decipher the meaning. Although, if you'd like, You could roll another insight check.
21.
21 is very good. Roman, you think to yourself, what is this shaman talking about? Pride? How are you being... And then it hits you. Are you being prideful? Are you telling these people what to do? But isn't that what you must do? You must serve the light, but is that actually going to help? And then you find yourself thinking about what the tenets of Auril are. Cruelty, preservation, endurance, and isolation. Wait, if she is so adamant about following Auril, is there a way you can turn this round? If you take the route of humility, if you try and go along with what she says, is there a way you could somehow convince her that what you're doing is worthy of Auril? That might be possible. You suddenly think to yourself, even though it will take you admitting that you were wrong, at least to this woman. It will mean at least admitting outwards that you are not right. And that, I think, for you is a great challenge. It is a choice you must make now.
But I must serve Lathander in the way that he demands. I cannot deviate from the path now. No, that was made abundantly clear to me. Well, I suppose there isn't much to say then. We will move towards the glacier and you will undoubtedly try to stop us, and many people will die. And it will be on your head for doing that. It will be your choice.
The woman tilts her head. She begins reaching for her axe. Roshek, it seems Roman has made a choice, but what do you do?
I hate the idea that these people around us, the Elk tribe, should suffer for our hands. Though of course, they clearly believe that this is important enough to die for and to fight with these others for. And so you do follow Auril. So keenly. Well, we have been to the temple to gaze upon the stone tablets of her tenets of preservation, cruelty, isolation, and endurance. I don't see how violence necessarily fits into any of this.
You see that she was ready to reach for her weapon, but when you speak, it does make things pause again. Roman, how are you feeling though? You suddenly feel this, like, in your heart. Did Roshik just speak over you? Is Roshik denying you? What do you do with this feeling in your heart suddenly?
I need to remain true to myself, but I have no need to control others' actions, and in this way, if he can get us through this without violence, then I am all for it. I will serve my god, and he will do what he thinks is right. I will listen and hear what he has to say.
The voice quells when you start thinking this. It starts dying down a little in the back of your mind. Perhaps now you even realize that for a moment, though, it was crystal clear. The voice of a person you thought gone, still there. But no, when you start thinking that way, the voice is gone again. Well, what am I to make of this? Your priest was ready to declare war on me, as expected, but what do you know of the tenets of Auril? Violence would achieve something if you were willing to stop her, unless you are implying that you are worthy of challenging her.
I have been through a lot, as you surely can see from my state, and now I have witnessed the fierce power of this place, this very hostile environment. I don't know why people come to live up here if it is in particular for this isolation and to prove their own endurance. And I know that a lot of people would prefer staying in a warm place, but still these 10-towners, they decide that they want to be in this environment just as you. and I know many of them, they have turned to admiring Aurel just as much as you. They are performing their sacrifices every month. If it isn't people, then it's food or other resources. The way I see it, they have come to seek the same as you have. Though their lifestyle may differ, they're clearly not here to enjoy and to feast or to declare anything like that of which my friend here, and I gesture towards Roman, seems to enjoy their light. They are here because, just like you, they like this life. They have a drawing towards this darkness. Maybe they enjoy the cruelty of nature, just like you.
You speak words that are not so full of pride and arrogance as this one. They are learning, yes, but sadly it is not enough. Though they do the rituals, and they please Aurel, they eventually will have to go. It is their way that bothers her the most. But you're right, 1 or 2 are learning. Are you implying that you could learn as well? Roshik, would you like to roll an insight check?
That's a 9.
Roshik, you're not entirely sure what she means by that, but Roman, now that you've stopped speaking, now you're thinking, we're going to go off what your previous roles were. Could that be it? Is that what Roshik's trying to say? What if you tried to say that you were worthy of the challenge? Isn't that what these people of Aurel want? They want to endure, they want to suffer the cruelty of punishment. Could you not go down that route? That's what you're thinking as Roshik is speaking, but it's of course up to you if you say anything.
Well, we have come to endure the tests, to endure this harsh place. We know it won't be easy, but we think that surely Aurel will look upon the sacrifices that we are about to make, both mental and physical, in order to get what we need. Surely, based on her tenets, she will look at that and see something that pleases her.
She looks at you skeptically. Again, with your insight, you know why. It's because you suddenly sound like you are changing your tune. Please roll me a persuasion check.
5.
She scoffs a little. You speak honeyed words, but I do not believe you, priest. 1 moment ago, you were saying how bravely you would slay us all. Now you say you will respect Aurel's will. I don't think so. I think if Aurel finds you unworthy, you would do everything you could to defy her. Roshik, what do you say to that? Seems Roman was on the right track, but again, he wasn't quite convincing enough.
I look to Roman as she first asked me a question, and then I turn back to her and I say, yes, I would like to learn. I have started studying, and I would take part more in what you do. But it serves no one that we kill each other here today. We believe we are worthy of these tests.
You can also roll a persuasion check.
11.
She squints. All this talk, it's not normally my way. I could see this, perhaps, but I would hear it from the priest. Priest, tell your companion. Tell him you agree that if you fail your god, everything is meaningless. Don't tell me, tell him. I want to see if you'll do it.
That everything is meaningless if we fail these challenges? Well, then we will be dead. Everything will be meaningless. But we must try. We must prove ourselves worthy.
Roshik, he's directing that towards you. What do you say?
I look back into his eyes, a bit searching. I know Roman he always has a way of getting around things. He finds excuses to do things, and he finds way of expressing himself to make things happen his way. But, yeah, I search his eyes, and I don't know, let me just roll an insight roll for myself.
Yes.
18.
Roman, let's see. Would you have been trying to hide anything from Roshek? Maybe these people, but when you face Roshek, would you have been trying to hide your actual feelings, regardless of what you're having to say?
Well, I am filled with nothing but contempt for these people, of course. It is this tiresome test. I wish nothing but to bring back the light. I am growing very tired of this woman and her inferior god. It is the light of Lathander that will prevail over everything, obviously.
Then, Roshek, to your eyes, it's clear as day. Although you think they can't see that. After all, there's still a lot of snow in the air, but you can see clearly, Roshek. Roman would smite every single one of these fools. They are completely wrong. His god is the right god. Hell, in this moment, you think if you disagreed with him on that, maybe he'd even smite you. You suddenly have a little flashback. Long ago, there was a battle, and for a moment, you fought, or you were told that he would harm you. It's all there, but of course, you see that behind the words of him agreeing with you.
Yeah, and I think also to myself that, I don't want to stand in his way. It doesn't give me anything. We go too far back. He wants to do it his way, and I am going to have to try and find a way around that. Usually, we're not the polar opposites after all. I just nod slowly.
And the shaman speaks. There, you have it, Queen. They agree. Do they not have the right to trial, to endurance? Oral is not scared, is she? And all the elk start laughing. There's a bit of grumbling then among the tiger, and the Queen sort of wrinkles her nose. Of course not. Very well. You are lucky. Thanks to the elk. Killing you now is awkward. And while the priest is a fool, maybe this other one has some sense. Maybe I should let you pass, and Oral judge you. She will rip your skin from your bodies, and your souls will become hers, and then you will see how your god of light has no power here. Are you willing to accept that this might be your fate?
I accept my fate.
And so do I.
Know this, Mejnir, you have interfered. This does not change our plans. Of course it does not. We wish the tiger good hunting. If, priest, somehow you are able to harm Great Oral as I think you might, there will be consequences. But I'm willing to believe in her this day. Very well. Enjoy your trials. She whistles. The tigers seem to be withdrawing. Roman, how are you feeling? That voice again in the back of your mind. You cannot let these people leave. They are blasphemers. They will harm Easthaven. They will harm Kaliana. Smite them. Smite them. It is not a god's voice, a demon's voice. It's your own voice. A young Roman from a time long ago. How are you feeling?
I would wish nothing more than to do just that. But there will be a time for that later. They will not accept coexisting with us, and then I will have my opportunity to prove to Lathander that we truly are superior. But not today. Today we have other business to take care of.
Roshek, what about you? They are slowly beginning to back off. You think you have managed to get through somehow.
I motion my axe beak to start moving up slowly until I get closer to the queen. And I look down at the tiger down there. It's an impressive beast. And I rummage through my coat as I let the lance of many colors dissipate. And I take out a little piece of bone that I have been etching with my dagger these last nights, making the symbol with the talons, no, the fangs that I remember from my mother's. And I throw it to her.
She catches the thing in the air. She frowns at it. What is this? Tribute?
I would be happy to learn more about you and your ways if our paths crossed again, and you, personally, would indulge me. And I give her a little smile.
You are audacious, I'll give you that. Huh. What would you wish to know of our ways? We hunt, we prosper, we kill.
I'm sure there's more than that. I smile and look down at the tiger again, and then I heel my axe beak on.
She sort of just watches you go and then quickly moves to her own sled, her tiger accompanying her. And it seems the tiger tribe begin vanishing back into the snow. Mengir lets out a sigh, and the elk all kind of look at each other, nodding. Well, Roshek, a choice was made, yeah? I did not expect you to make it, though. Interesting. You notice the figure kind of tilts their mask towards you, Roman, but then just looks away dismissively.
And I think to myself, if she is a queen, then maybe that's how I'll become a king.
The elk begin to depart. Suddenly, Mengir comes to you, Roman, and they say, little further ahead, the glacier awaits. Yeah?
Thank you. You saved us. We would not be alive without your support.
I allowed you to make a choice, yeah? You, up until the last moment, were still at the crossroads. It follows you, Roman. I fear you will not be able to escape it.
None of us can escape our fates. It is all in the hands of the gods. In the hands of Lathander, I say, with a fanaticism in my eyes.
If you truly believe that, then that will be so. Farewell. And the elk begin getting on their sleds. Finally, you are all left alone again, just you three and the kobolds. Velen sort of comes across. Well, that was interesting. Well done, both of you. I'm not entirely sure what game you were playing. Roman, you're quite the actor. You seemed at one point to want to brutally murder all of them, but then you suddenly stopped doing it. Good for you.
I put on a fake laughter. Yes, good I was able to fool you.
I have already paced a little ahead, and I'm looking back at the others. My thoughts are kind of going the same way as I hear their conversation up there in the distance, over the wind of the plains. I listen and I wait, lost in the thoughts that I just had.
Your holy symbol, Roman, still feels heavy. But so what? You ignore that, as you begin moving onwards. The Regid Glacier rises hundreds of feet into the sky now before you. At the foot of the glacier, still barely a half-mile away. It doesn't take long before you stand before this colossal wall of ice and rock. You notice, though, that you seem to be standing at a very specific point. There's like almost a sheet of silvery ice before you, almost as if water was cascading down into a pool, long frozen. Velen looks excited. Well, this is it. We are here. We've made it. This is the spot.
Good. I can't wait.
And I suppose if you say what you need to say, the path will open before us.
Yes, precisely. This is the point we accurately predicted, where a breach would be accessible. Well, here goes nothing. Velen begins to take out her notebook, and she begins to intone the Rime of the Frostmaiden. It's new to you, Roshek, but you, Roman, remember reading it. So, there's some familiarity to these words. She intones the whole thing, verse by verse. For a moment there is silence. And then, as the last words of the poem are spoken, a rumbling sound comes from deep within the glacier. The noise reaches a crescendo as a great wall of ice begins to part before you. It's almost as if this waterfall isn't coming back to life, after all that would drown you, but merely parting through the crack. There now is an opening deep into the glacier. The rumbling stops, and there is silence as a weird wind begins to blow from this opening. What do you do, Roman?
I look at my companions.
I give off a shiver as I hear the strange howling of the wind.
Well, let's go in then. This is the way. Wonderful. Not more excited? We're nearly there. The lost city of Vifren awaits.
I suppose it does at that. Very well. I look behind us just to see that no one's following us, feeling a little bit of paranoia, considering what I'm carrying with me.
There is no one on the wastes. Again, the elk and tiger are now long gone.
She's out there somewhere. She feels me, but I don't feel her. And I start healing my axe beak onwards.
It's not long, as you begin heading in, that you see the tunnel starting to narrow. There's a bit of space here, but you very quickly realise the axe beaks will not be able to continue. The tunnels get too low. Velen comes forward with the sleds and says, "Maybe we should... kobolds? Maybe you should set a little camp out here. What do you think, Roman? I don't think the sleds are going to be able to continue."
Oh, I think you're right. We have to leave them here. The kobolds can protect them.
Velen gives out some orders, and the kobolds begin taking most of your supplies and gear and making a little makeshift camp area just outside this entrance. The axe beaks as well are roped up, and there the three of you are, standing before the narrow tunnel ahead of you. What do you do, Roman?
I go in.
Roshek?
Yeah, I empty out as much material and items as I can to get some empty bags for the haul that we're probably about to make.
And you begin to enter. Roman, of course, lighting a light up quickly to combat the darkness that awaits. And you begin to descend down this long, icy tunnel. Down and down. A cold wind greeting you. The light being the only thing you have now against the darkness of the glacier.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden, for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. The music was created by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Ugasanye, Word Clock, and Metatron Omega, and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Check them out at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more dark ambient. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, and David Hagberg for their generous support. And we would of course like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, this show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. May Lathander protect you and fill the world with light.